And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure, the latest from Shelly Lares, Sal Si Puedes.
Quiero gozar, quiero vivir en Sal Si Puedes, tierra de ilusión donde el amor nunca se muere. Ven, ven y verás de corazón a Sal Si Puedes, y tú cantarás con gran amor a tus quereres. Eres muy rico, Sal Si Puedes, no te olvidaré. En tu recinto muchas veces con ella soñé. Eres muy rico, Sal Si Puedes, no te olvidaré.
Tejano music is very diverse. It's the one genre in the entire world that implements so many genres. Not only that, but a lot of the artists as well as musicians are very well at performing other genres from norteño to reggaeton to mariachi to rock to country music to salsa to jazz. So in every Tejano artist, you can hear something familiar if you're from a different country, or you just like different genres. You can always find something familiar in Tejano, and I think it's just a big old huge blend of so many things. But I think that's been our blessing and our curse in our industry, because we are so many things. It's kind of hard to say we're just one thing and that's it. I grew up in a household where we listened to just about everything. My father was musically inclined, but never really learned professionally, but he could play guitar, and he knew a lot of conjunto Spanish music. My mom was a singer as well. And my brother listened to anything from Willie Nelson to Linda Ronstadt to Pat Benatar. So I grew up like totally absorbing all of these things. And I think it just depends on every artist individually. Not everybody has implemented all of these things, because I also love orquesta big band music, like 30s and 40s music, Glenn Miller, all of these. So I've also implemented that in my music as well. So I just think everybody's different, but for me, I've done country, like I said, mariachi, reggaeton. Whatever I feel expresses who I am as an artist. It's not just one style of music. It's a lot of different styles because of my upbringing and what I liked. Songwriter. Yeah, man, yeah. Taking it to the other side of the world was pretty interesting. When I toured with the Divas, which was with Elida Reina, Stephanie Montiel, who are two of our biggest iconic women in Tejano music as well. They've both been in the industry over 25 years. My being 40 years this year, I've been doing Tejano music. It's been pretty cool to see different people that you don't see on a norm. Like, say for instance, we went to Japan. We performed in Okinawa, and we had Japanese people going crazy over cumbias and rancheras and music that you didn't think. I went to Korea, same thing. They showed up in cowboy hats. They were loving Tejano. Then we threw country, and they were dancing country. Mexico, like, of course, Monterrey, because Monterrey is like a big supporter of Tejano music because we're so close, as well as Mexico City. I mean, again, I think because we do something that is different but still familiar to them. I had a fan that I made from the Philippines who messaged me and said, listen to Soy Tu Amor, which was one of my biggest hits in '94. And he's a musician, but he plays reggae music. But he listened to the bass line in my cumbia, which was that of a reggae pattern. And he's like, wow, how do y'all implement it? And for us, it's second nature. But to other genres and other musicians, they're fascinated at how intricate our music really is. When I started with this Tejano band and started to get the recognition, it really showed me the passion and love that I started to develop for Tejano. I knew coming in that once I stepped on that stage for the first time at age 10 here in San Antonio, and the crowd just went crazy over a little 10-year-old little girl, I was like, yeah, this is it. I want to do music for the rest of my life, It wasn't always easy, because when I started, there was only probably like 7 women in the entire industry. You had Laura Canales, Patsy Torres, Janie C. Ramirez, Elsa Garcia, Linda Escobar, Selena, and myself. And Selena and I were the youngest girls. We were the same age. So it was hard, because, male dominated for sure. You would only hear one female every 2 hours. So I just persevered, and I found my own identity from the very beginning. I wanted people to know, even working with my first producer, I put my foot down and said, I want to write half of this album, and he allowed me to, because I wanted people to know who I was. I wasn't interested in following in the steps of my mentor, Patsy Torres, or following Selena's footsteps or Laura's footsteps. I was developing my own lane. And I think that's what really has helped me have this longevity in this industry. Consistency. I would release like 1 to 2 albums a year. So that's really the key, is to be who you are always, never deter from that, and 2, to be consistent is really what's important. It's amazing to see the amount of people that she's still influencing, 26 years after she's been gone. Her music is timeless, and in our eyes, she'll always be 23 years old. But as a person, as a friend, it does make me sad, because I think, wow, she would be 51 now. I'm 50, she'd be 51, and it makes me sad to know that she didn't really get to experience life, because really, what do we really know at 23? We're kind of just beginning to know who we are, right? But yeah, people ask me that because people want to know how she was personally. I miss the music, yeah, but that will live forever. It's more the person that I miss, being around, making those phone calls, joking around, being dumb. But she was someone very passionate about what she did, and loved people. I think, we met when we were 10 years old. I think in the 23 years that we were friends, I think I only saw her upset like twice. She was never mad, always laughing, always would give the shirt off her back to anyone. That's just kind of the person she was. So I miss more the person than I do anything else, my friend. But I still know, that I feel her with me and encouraging me. She always wanted me to go country. She loved my country music. She's like, Shell, you got to go country. You do great country music. And but we never really talked about music at all, hardly ever. It was more friends. We would just go shop. We would just do what any teenage girls would do, at that age. I always kind of looked for something to do outside of music, because I feel like if you stop challenging yourself, you're not living anymore. I think we all have room to grow. It doesn't matter how old we are. So I always knew I wanted to keep challenging myself and to see what I could do, what I was passionate about. I knew that the next journey I was going to take had to be something that I love with my whole heart. So I started studying. I studied fitness and nutrition on the road. I also studied physical therapy aid, and while I'm on the road, but I was still feeling like that wasn't really capturing what I was really wanting to do. So about 2018, maybe 2017, I was like, maybe I should go into caretaking twice a week, as if I wasn't busy enough. To see because I was my father's caretaker till his last breath. But I was like, let me see if I could do it for outside my family. And I knew I was gonna love it. So I went and started doing caretaking Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I fell in love with it, especially working with elderly people. So I did that and for like 3 years, and that's when I decided I wanna go into nursing. That's what I wanna do. And I was around patients who are already in hospice, end of life. And I was like, that's what I want to do, end of life hospice, because I'm completely, I have no issue with the transition of life after death. I believe it with my whole heart that this isn't the end. It's, death is the beginning of eternal life to me. So I made the decision. I was like, I think my 40th year, I'm ready to get off the road. I started my own record label, Shell Shock Records 3, and I knew that once I got off the road, I would be able to concentrate on that a little bit more as far as producing, writing, arranging, maybe signing an artist to my label. But for me, this journey's more for myself. This is more for me to have something to where, when I graduate from nursing school, that's gonna be, because I didn't walk the stage ever after high school. I graduated early and I was on the road. So I never have had that for myself. And that's something that, no one will ever be able to take away from me, just like they can't my career. But, it's everybody's, I know it's not an easy life, but neither is the music business. So I'm going from one hard career to another. But I'm excited about the journey. And already, producing opportunities that presented themselves to me, and I'm embracing them for whatever they are. I take what God sends me, and I take it and run with it. I'm like, every opportunity that comes my way, I'm excited about. But I hope to start school spring of 23. And but I will be off the road. I'm not going to miss the road. I'm not going to miss it. I'll miss people's faces and seeing because I'm very personable. When I see my fans after the show, I like to talk to them. I like to hear their stories. I don't like making people feel like I'm better than they are, because I'm just like everyone else. And so, but I'm not going to miss the road life. It's a hard life, but I am excited about my next journey. Well, one of the things that I take very seriously is my mentorship. I do a lot of that. I have done a lot of that for many years now. I take pride in the fact that being that I'm one of the only ones in this industry that really takes it this as serious as I do, because it's almost on a daily basis. I do a lot of mentoring. I do a lot of consulting. Artists, whether they're new or veteran artists, promoters, radio stations, award shows, they all call me to ask me what I think. So it's nice to see that I'm respected in this industry. But I always tell them exactly what I said, how when I started, I tell them, you need to do music that speaks to you, like who you are. How do you want to represent yourself? Because it's all part of marketing, so you got to know how to market yourself. But I'm saying, because at the end of the day, if you start doing music just because that's the popular sound to do, I guarantee you 10, 15 years down the road, if you're still here, you're going to think, man, why did I do that? That wasn't me. And you can't do that. You have to be you right out of the gate, no matter what. So I always tell them that. But the most important thing is it's a business, okay? You cannot do this full time and make a living out of it if you don't handle it like a business. So, I kind of try to set them up with that kind of mentality first. It takes a lot of things to be an artist and to be here for years. Perseverance, resilience, grit. All of these things, it takes a lot. But it's not impossible. But I just tell them, be true to who you are, because if you don't believe it, fans don't believe it. And be different, be something, be yourself. We don't need someone copying what someone is already doing. Why do you want to waste time doing that? You need originality, you need to be unique, and above all, you have to have integrity with what you're doing. Because music is so, I think it's what shows the most vulnerable parts of who we are as singers, as artists. Because, you're creating something, that is forever. Back when I did my very first album, I recorded 45s from age 10 to 14, 15. And then 17 years old, I was signed for the first time with Manny Guerra. Manny Guerra is the Clive Davis, Dr. Dre, if you will, of our industry, okay? So if you know those caliber of producers, then you understand who Manny Guerra was for us. He recorded Selena, La Mafia, Mas, us, everybody, Emilio, everybody. And from the first day, I was necia. I was like, Manny, I want to arrange, JJ and I, my right hand, we want to write our own music. We want to arrange this music. And by the second, third album and so on, he wasn't writing the music for us. We were writing it. We were producing it. I even had him not go in his own studio anymore. I was like, we have the engineer here. Can you not come in anymore? Because we don't need you. And he let me do it. But that wasn't validated until this year. For all of these years, people said, Manny Guerra's her producer. He was my executive producer. He paid for my albums, but we created the music. And he wrote a book and did an interview and talked about me. And for the first time ever, he said, I didn't produce Shelly's music. They wrote it themselves. I didn't have to do anything. And it felt so good to have that validation as a producer. We have it in the mail in Tejano a lot, but just wait. I'm just getting started on producing. People don't know what's coming, but I'm excited to have people see what I can create and my capabilities. Playing the timbales was something, again, what are you going to bring to the table that's different in your genre? You know, I'm not the only woman to ever play timbales. Hello, Sheila E. I mean, you know, there's so many amazing women that play. And I just, back in 91, 92, when I started to implement those, because my brother was a drummer, and I would get in his drum set and I would play. I was the only sibling he would let play. I'm the baby, so my two sisters, he wouldn't let them touch his drums. But so I would play the drums and I loved them. I played guitar too. So I told my father, I'm like, I think I want to add the timbales to my show. And he's like, well, let's get them. So we bought them and I just started playing them. And that's what people wait for in my shows. They're like, oh, she's grabbing her sticks. They get the phones out, you know, they get excited. And the harder I hit them, the more excited they get. It's so funny. But I just, again, it's just how I express myself. When I do country music, I put that guitar on and it's like, that's another part of who I am. You know, it's so funny how times have changed, right? You know, I didn't really openly come out. I mean, I didn't have a coming out moment with fans. It's so funny. Everybody's like, what did you do? I was like, nothing. I didn't do anything. I just started sharing my life more on social media as social media came to be. But I do remember 90s when I would go hang out with my best friends who are also, they've been together like 35 years. I would go to the gay bars with them or clubs and people would see me there. And I remember being deathly afraid. I remember that, thinking, oh my, and I hadn't, you know, really come out to my parents yet. And really all my life, they were the only two that really mattered to me more than anyone else were my parents. It wasn't until 2008 that I was in a previous relationship and I was going to be moving to Lubbock, Texas, that I came to tell my parents why I was leaving. And they were not even worried that I was leaving to go be with the girl. They were just upset that I was leaving. So, I mean, I'm just like everybody else, been in some crappy relationships with some, you know, really not so good people for me. And Mia coming into my life, she doesn't make me happy, she adds to my happiness because I'm perfectly happy by myself. And we're still individuals at the end of the day. We still have our own individual dreams, but we still support each other. We've been together 4 years now, and I think she came into my life when I had to make a decision in my previous relationship that was a really difficult one for me because there was a child involved. But once I left and I found self-love more and more peace for myself is when she came into my life, and I think it was a perfect timing. My father, I'm convinced, would love Mia because she is exactly the type of woman that my father always told us to be. Don't, you know, be self-sufficient. You know, the things that she rigs up sometimes, it's like, that's my father. It's like, it's weird. But, you know, she and my mother are extremely close, and my family, like my whole family, my siblings, my nieces and nephews love her, and she's just a good person, and she brings out the best in me, I think, and I do her too, so it just works. And fans love her too. Like, she sees fans and they call her Beba, because I call her Beba, and they're like, Beba, and she's like, she turns around, and you know. But again, I think life is just about being happy, you know. And just loving each other, no matter who you are, what you are. I think that's really, at the end of the day, what it's really all about. And but to know that I have someone in my corner, just it feels really good. You know, it's so strange how we carry these things, but I didn't write any music from 2016 up until 2018 when Mia came into my life. it's like all of this music just started coming to me. Like I had that void, but I was not in a good place mentally, emotionally. You know, it was suffocating. And I don't recommend that for anyone. If someone you're with is not allowing you to feel good about yourself or to breathe, and I mean, me and I have never argued one time. We've been together 4 years. All we do is laugh. So everyone's different. I'm not comparing her to my other relationship. I'm just saying the whole thing, how someone, when you really love someone, it should be effortless. I've never understood why they say love hurts. To me, love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't hurt you, people hurt you. You see what I mean? So when somebody really loves you, I think it's just effortless. I think just things just happen the way they're supposed to happen. And this is the first time ever in my life I've ever experienced an effortless relationship, ever. I just want to say thank you to all of the Tejano music fans all over the world. Muchísimas gracias por todo su apoyo de parte de Shelly Lares, también de parte de mi grupo. Thank you for all of the wonderful years that you guys have supported me. I wanted to retire in my prime. I say my prime because I could kick out another 10 to 15 albums if I wanted. But I wanted to have the opportunity to say thank you and for fans to tell me thank you, because when a person is no longer here, it's too late. And I wanted to retire still loving what I do. So thank you. If you've never listened to Tejano music, go look it up. I promise you're gonna love it. And go check out my music while you're there too. But I have some amazing things coming from LMD Productions, Shell Shock Records 3, which is my label, my production company. I'm gonna be producing a lot of artists that are gonna be coming out, Latin music, country music, R&B music. So y'all aren't gonna get rid of me that fast. But thank you guys.
Tus manos acariciándome, fue que la nostalgia llega hasta mí. Escribo una carta y te digo así: tengo muchas ganas de besarte, amor, ay amor.